My name is Kall Me Kris. I'm 32, a housewife, and a part-time worker. It sounds simple, and for the most part, my life used to be just that, simple. I had a husband, Charles, who was 2 years older than me, and together we raised our bright, spirited daughter, Catherine. She's almost 5 now, full of life and questions and opinions that come out of her tiny mouth like a grown-up trapped in a child's body. We were a family of 3. On paper, we were perfectly ordinary. Charles worked as a department head in production management for a clothing company. I used to work full-time at a bank before Catherine came into our lives. After she was born, I left that job and only returned to work recently, doing part-time shifts at the neighborhood grocery store. It's not glamorous, but it helps, and I actually like chatting with the regulars. There's something comforting about the predictability of it all. We live in the house my parents passed down to me. They retired early and moved to a second-hand villa near a ski resort, where my dad opened a tiny pizza shop. He started making pizzas as a hobby, and somehow turned it into a little business on the main road. It's doing surprisingly well. My mom, never one to be left behind, started making crepes to pair with the pizza. They're known now as the pizza and crepe couple in the area. The locals love them. Honestly, I love them too. My parents are sweet, warm, and down-to-earth. They adore Catherine, and the feeling is mutual. She tells everyone, "My grandpa makes the best pizza in the world and my grandma's crepes are magic." Her words, not mine. Charles's side of the family? Well, they're a different story entirely. His mother, my mother-in-law, comes from some self-proclaimed noble lineage. Her husband, Charles's father, was adopted into her family, which means she holds all the power and pride in the household. And oh, does she wear that pride like a crown. She absolutely adores Charles, still calls him my baby boy like he's 5 instead of 34. It's honestly unsettling sometimes. I'm not saying Charles is spineless, but when it comes to his mother, he folds like cheap laundry. He's the textbook definition of a mama's boy. Visits her all the time, answers her calls like they're urgent meetings, and worse, he listens to everything she says, even when it's absurd. The pressure from her to give birth to a son started soon after Catherine was born. I kid you not, she barely acknowledges Catherine when we visit. "She's just a girl," she once muttered under her breath, thinking I didn't hear. I did. Catherine did too. My sweet girl once asked her, "Grandma, don't you remember my name?" And that woman had the nerve to respond, "Oh, is that so? Well, it's fine either way." Catherine looked right at her and said, "That's why I don't like you, Grandma." Brutally honest, just like her mom. It broke my heart and made me proud. Our visits to my in-laws became less and less frequent, and frankly, no one in our little trio complained. Catherine never warmed up to them, and I couldn't blame her. She got all the love she needed from my side of the family. The resentment only grew stronger when Charles started echoing his mom's ridiculous expectations. "If only Catherine had been a boy," he once said casually during dinner. I stared at him, stunned. "What's wrong with having a girl?" I asked. He shrugged and mumbled, "That's what my mommy says." "Seriously, you're a grown man, Charles." When I tried to stand up for myself, my mother-in-law would swoop in like a hawk. "Why are you bullying my baby boy? He's a treasure and you don't appreciate him." I had to bite my tongue, but sometimes I snapped back. "Do you cherish your own husband? Because I haven't heard that man say a word in years." "Wicked girl, you demon! If you hurt my baby again, I won't let it slide." It became a full-blown war between me and her, with Charles sitting in the middle like a scared little boy, caught between 2 playground bullies. Only I wasn't bullying, I was surviving. Then came the day Charles told me his parents wanted to go on a trip and asked me to arrange around $1,000 for them. I stared at him like he'd grown a second head. "Where do you think we have that kind of money?" I asked. "They're old, Chris. Their legs might go weak soon. They just want to travel while they still can." I didn't budge. "Let them use their own money. They planned everything except how to pay for it? Sounds about right, just like you." "But don't you feel bad?" "No, I really don't. We've got bills to pay and a kid to raise. I'm not breaking my back so they can vacation." He gave me that helpless look he always used when he didn't get his way. But I was firm. Not this time. I crossed my arms and said, "No buts, no maybes." Catherine, who had been watching the exchange, clapped and said, "Mama, you're so cool." That gave me a little laugh, despite everything. But Charles wasn't done. Oh no. A few days later, I found out he'd quietly withdrawn $1,000 from Catherine's savings account. Money we'd been putting aside for her future, for emergencies, for school. I saw red. I stormed to my in-laws' house and confronted his mother. "You demanded that money, didn't you?" She sipped her tea like she was royalty. "He gave it willingly. It's part of being a good son." "He took it from Catherine's savings. She's just a girl. She'll be married off anyway. Spending on her is pointless." I couldn't take it anymore. "She's our daughter, our responsibility. And if you wanted an heir so badly, why didn't you have another one yourself?" I left that house shaking with fury. When I got home, I told Charles he would be repaying every cent of that $1,000 from his own pocket money. No arguments, no whining. Later that week, he and Catherine went to visit his parents again. I didn't go. I needed to focus on planning Catherine's 5th birthday. The guest list, the food, the decorations, the present, it was overwhelming. I stress ate 3 of my favorite puddings just to calm down. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened next. I was just starting to breathe easier after sorting out the birthday plans when the front door opened. Catherine and Charles had returned from the in-laws' house, but something felt off. Normally, Catherine would come bursting through the door with stories and questions and hugs. This time, nothing. She walked in quietly, head down, and went straight to her room without saying a word. My heart sank. I turned to Charles. "What happened?" He shrugged. "Nothing really." "Don't lie to me." He just gave me this blank look and walked away. That's when I knew something had happened, and it wasn't good. I went straight to Catherine's room. She was sitting on the edge of her bed, eyes red, her tiny shoulders trembling. "Honey, what's wrong?" She looked up at me, sniffling. "Grandma told me I'm not wanted. She said I shouldn't come in the house, so I had to stay outside." I froze. "What?" She gave me a bottle of water and made me sit outside the whole time. "It was hot, Mama, really hot. I wanted to go inside, but she told me I was too noisy and a girl like me shouldn't be running around." I clenched my fists. "And Daddy?" She nodded slowly. "He was inside, eating watermelon with Grandma." My stomach dropped. I stormed out of her room and straight to Charles. "You left our daughter outside, in the heat, while you sat inside eating fruit like some pampered prince?" He didn't even flinch. "She was being loud. I told her to stay outside and gave her water. What's the problem?" "The problem is, she's the child. She's 5. She gets to be loud. That's what kids do." He rolled his eyes. "All the other kids in our family are quiet. Maybe girls just aren't good. My mom says we need a boy soon." That was it. The straw. The final one. "You know what? If you keep talking like that, divorce might be the best option." He blinked like I'd just slapped him. "You'd go that far?" "Yeah, I just might." He didn't answer, just walked away like it wasn't his daughter who had cried herself to sleep. Later that evening, Charles told me he was going to stay at his parents' house for a while. I lied to Catherine, told her Grandma was sick and Daddy went to help take care of her. She didn't buy it. She said, trying to make sense of everything in her little head. I couldn't take it anymore. I called my parents. "Put your child's happiness first," my dad told me. "If Catherine is happy, then you'll be happy too. You and Catherine can come stay with us any time." That offer planted a seed in my heart. The next few days were a blur. I was busy preparing for Catherine's party, one for her friends during the day, and one for our family at night. I kept thinking, maybe, just maybe, Charles would come back for her birthday like he promised. But the day came, and he didn't. "Is Daddy coming?" she asked, her little hand holding a balloon string. I smiled, trying to hide the ache. "He's just running late, sweetheart." An hour passed. I called him. His voice was casual, almost tipsy. "Oh, hey, what's up?" "What do you mean, what's up? Today is Catherine's birthday. She's waiting for you. She hasn't even touched her cake." "Oh, right, totally forgot. I'm in Australia right now with Mom. She wanted a luxury vacation and we figured, why not?" I couldn't breathe. "You're where?" "Australia. The wine is amazing. We're staying for 3 weeks." "Are you serious? What about your daughter?" "Oh, come on. Don't be dramatic. It's just a birthday." In the background, I heard his mother's voice. "Is that the demon wife? Tell her we don't need her. We want a daughter-in-law who can actually give us a boy." Charles echoed her without hesitation. "Yeah, we've talked about divorce. I think we'll go through with it. Life's been better without the drama." Then he hung up. I just stood there, the phone still pressed to my ear. I ran to check our joint account. I had a sick feeling. Sure enough, 0. Nearly $300,000 gone. He'd drained our savings for a luxury trip with his mother. With our money, Catherine's money. I collapsed on the floor. The tears just came and wouldn't stop. Catherine crawled into my lap. "Mommy, what's wrong? Is Daddy not coming?" "I'm sorry, baby. He's not coming today." She nodded solemnly. "It's okay. Mommy's here. Catherine loves Mommy the most." She hugged me tight. No, she comforted me. My little girl, the one they treated like she didn't matter, was stronger than all of them combined. That night, something in me cracked open. The next morning, I took action. I went to the government office and gathered all the documents I'd need. I wasn't going to live like this anymore. I started organizing my things, called a friend from work, and explained everything. She was furious on my behalf. Her husband happened to work for a moving company and offered to help. "Let them pay for it," she said. "They deserve the bill." That was exactly what I did. While Charles was sipping wine and soaking up the sun in Australia, I emptied our house. Moved everything Catherine and I needed to my parents' home. It felt like pressing reset on my entire life. I got a text from Charles a few days later. "Trip's been great. No souvenirs for you, though. Pick us up when we get to the station." I didn't respond. Eventually, the calls started pouring in. I ignored them all. Finally, he called from the landline at his parents' house. "Why aren't you answering? What's going on?" "I'm done, Charles. I've lost all desire to be your wife. You want a divorce? You got it." He went quiet. "Wait, are you serious? You and your mother made it pretty clear how you feel. No need to pretend anymore. Let's just talk about it when I get back." A few hours later, he called again, this time in a panic. "Hey, there's a moving truck unloading all our stuff at my parents' house. What the hell is going on?" "Oh, that? Yeah, I had your things delivered. Figured you'd want your stuff close by." "Are you insane? I'm coming over there right now." "No need. Catherine and I are fine. We've moved on. Enjoy the rest of your trip." He didn't know where we were yet, but the moment he did, I was ready. It didn't take long for Charles to figure out we were staying at my parents' house. He called again, sounding completely unhinged. "I just got to the house. It's empty. Everything's gone. Where are you? Is Catherine with you?" I took a deep breath and answered calmly. "Yes, she's with me. Say hi to Daddy, sweetheart." Catherine, mid-bite into a bunch of red grapes, chirped out, "Hi, Daddy. We're eating yummy grapes." I smiled and took the phone back. She's doing just fine. And no, we're not coming back. Ever. "Are you at your parents' house?" "Yes, and we're safe. We had pizza for lunch. Catherine's happy here." The line went silent for a second. Then he exploded. "You can't just take her and run. You sold the house? Are you crazy?" Actually, the land was in my name, inherited from my parents, before we even got married, so legally, it was mine to sell. "But what about my share? I live there too." "You didn't own anything, Charles. Not the land, not the house, and certainly not Catherine." "You think you're going to keep custody?" I laughed, a bitter, tired kind of laugh. "You left your daughter alone in the heat while you were eating watermelon inside. You think a judge won't consider that?" "She was just being loud." "She's a child. You don't deserve custody, and don't worry, my lawyer will be in touch." Click. I hung up, and for the first time in years, I felt something close to peace. Later that week, I finally met with my lawyer. I had all the documents prepared. I was clear about what I wanted. No alimony. I didn't want his pity money, but I demanded child support, repayment of the savings he stole, and a fair share of our joint assets. I wanted it clean, professional, and swift. Charles tried to protest, of course, but when I threatened to take everything to family court, he caved. His mother came to the negotiation meetings. Of course she did. She glared at me the entire time like I had burned down her empire. "She's a devil," she muttered under her breath. "My poor Charles is suffering." "No, lady, he's suffering the consequences of his own cowardice." Eventually, they sold their house to come up with the settlement money and child support. I received the full amount in a lump sum. I used some of it to pay for Catherine's new school, some to start building our new life. The rest, I tucked it away, safely. Catherine transferred to a kindergarten near my parents' home. She made new friends quickly, started smiling more. She would come home with pebbles in her pockets and dirt on her knees, telling me all about her adventures, like I was her diary. One afternoon, I watched her dance barefoot in the backyard, while my dad tossed pizza dough in the air, and my mom flipped crepes behind the counter. The scent of melted cheese and caramelized sugar hung in the air. It felt right, like life had clicked into place. I found a job, too. Thanks to my background in banking, I got hired by the local agricultural cooperative. I started helping local farmers with their finances. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work. And the people? Salt of the earth. Sometimes the farmers would stop by with fresh vegetables, carrots still dusted with soil, tomatoes warm from the sun. Catherine would squeal, "Mama, these taste better than candy." We were living simply, but fully. Then, one day, an old friend from our former neighborhood came to visit. She brought some things I'd forgotten during the move, but what really surprised me was what she said. "I ran into Charles recently. He's not doing so well." I raised an eyebrow. "He tried hitting on a new girl at work. younger, way younger. But everyone already knew the story. Word travels fast, you know. He got rejected, again and again. The other women were creeped out by him. Eventually he quit. I wasn't even surprised. He's working part-time now, at a construction site, all men. Apparently he's scared of women now. That made me pause. His mom's still pushing him to find someone younger. But let's be honest, who's going to marry a broke part-timer with a fear of women and a reputation like his? I didn't even respond. I just sipped my coffee and looked out the window at Catherine, chasing butterflies across the grass. Let them deal with their downfall. That chapter is closed. What mattered was this chapter. Catherine was thriving. I was healing. And then something unexpected happened. At the agricultural co-op, I met someone. He was kind, smart, and, like me, divorced. His son happened to be in the same kindergarten class as Catherine. At first, it was small talk during pickup time, then coffee, then lunch. One day he said, "You're stronger than most people I know." And for the first time in a long while, I believed it. We're not rushing anything. We're both cautious. But we understand each other. We laugh easily, and Catherine likes him. That's enough for now. I even bought a second-hand car. Nothing fancy, but it runs. Catherine and I started taking little weekend trips to the mountains, to rivers, to local markets. We sing loudly with the windows down. She picks flowers and makes bracelets for me. I take too many pictures and forget to post them. Every time I hear her laugh, I remember why I walked away from that old life. I did it for her. And for me. The river was quiet that day. The sky was open and blue, the kind of sky that feels like it stretches forever. Catherine was down by the bank, stacking pebbles like she was building a tiny kingdom. I sat nearby, just watching her, letting the wind brush against my face. It hit me then. This peace I felt, I had created it. No one handed it to me. It didn't come wrapped in a bow or arrive after some grand heroic act. It came from standing up for myself when it was hard, from choosing love that felt warm instead of duty that felt cold, from refusing to let my daughter grow up thinking she wasn't enough. Catherine looked up and shouted, "Mama, look, I made a mountain." I clapped. "You sure did, baby." She grinned, and I took a deep breath, like I was trying to inhale this moment so I could keep it forever. That night, after dinner, she snuggled next to me on the couch. My mom brought out warm crepes with cinnamon and honey, and my dad poured me a small glass of red wine. Not Australian, just local, but it tasted like safety. My phone buzzed on the table. A text from Charles. I didn't even open it, just deleted it. He'd been trying here and there, a message on a holiday, a missed call. Once he even sent a picture of Catherine's old toy, asking if she wanted it back. "Too late, buddy." I didn't respond, not out of spite, just because there was nothing left to say. Our lawyer had finalized everything. I had sole custody. He was ordered to pay monthly child support, though it didn't always come on time. I kept receipts. My lawyer was good, and now I knew how to protect myself. Catherine knew her father existed. I didn't hide that from her, but I didn't paint a fantasy either. When she asked why we didn't live together anymore, I said, "Because Mommy wanted us both to be safe and happy." She had accepted that. Kids understand more than we give them credit for. Some nights, she still asked, "Do you think Daddy will ever visit?" And I'd answer gently, "Maybe, but even if he doesn't, you have Mommy, and you're so loved." She'd smile and nod, and that would be enough. One day, she'll know everything, and when she does, I hope she sees the strength, not just the sadness, the courage, not just the pain. My new relationship? Well, it was slowly blossoming into something real. We weren't rushing. He had his own wounds, and I had mine. But we shared something deeper than attraction. We shared understanding. He once told me, "You didn't just walk away, you walked forward." And he was right. I wasn't running from a broken home. I was building a whole one. We started dreaming a little, just a little, about maybe opening a food stall or cafe near the roadside station, selling homemade pizza with Dad's recipe, crepes from Mom's kitchen, and dishes made with the fresh vegetables the farmers gave us. Simple food, honest living, community. Catherine was already planning the menu. We'll have chocolate crepes with strawberries, and grape juice, and pizza with heart-shaped cheese. I smiled. We'll call it Catherine's Corner. Her eyes lit up like the stars. I didn't need a mansion. I didn't need a picture-perfect Instagram family. I needed this. My daughter's laugh echoing through the hills, my parents' clothes, my own sense of worth restored. Charles? I heard from mutual friends that he was still floundering. His mother hadn't given up on finding him a new wife. But the charm had worn off. The noble family talk didn't impress anyone, not when it came with baggage, bitterness, and a man who couldn't hold a job. Apparently, he even tried to reconnect with an old coworker. She told him flat out, "I don't date guys who leave their kids behind." Ouch. But that wasn't my business anymore. That version of life, the one where I stayed silent, swallowed my worth, and kept trying to please people who didn't see me, it was dead and buried. One afternoon, Catherine brought me a drawing. It showed two stick figures, one tall, one small, standing by a big pizza. Above their heads were hearts, and she'd written in uneven letters, "Me and Mommy forever." I taped it on the fridge like it was the Mona Lisa. She looked up and asked, "Are we happy now?" And I said without hesitation, "Yes, we really are." Because we were. And we still are.